bringing together in person for the first time leaders of the African continent and those of the African diaspora in the Caribbean. It is a unique opportunity to strengthen long-standing ancestral and cultural ties while exploring new areas of collaboration, including trade, investment, tourism, science, and technology. Your joint summit also illustrates the importance that the African Union and CARICOM attach to multilateralism. Multilateralism is indeed alive, embodied in the values, principles, and work of organizations such as the African Union and CARICOM, which, in accordance with the Charter of the United Nations, seeks to enhance international cooperation, to maintain international peace and security, and to develop friendly relations among nations. At last year's summit of the future, Secretary General Antonio Guterres called for a better network and inclusive multilateral system, drawing on the expertise of all humanity. Your gathering illustrates best the true spirit of a network, inclusive, and people-centered multilateral system, which indeed underpins the Africa-CARICOM Summit, for which the United Nations commends you. At this juncture, I wish to acknowledge the government of Benin for establishing a legal pathway for descendants of sub-Saharan Africans to formally reconnect with their ancestral homeland. This emblematic initiative illustrates the immense potential for deepening ties between African and Caribbean countries and people, including the African diaspora going forward. Excellencies, you are holding this important summit under the theme Transcontinental Partnership in Pursuit of Reparatory Justice for Africans and people of African descent through reparations. In this connection, I would like to recall the statement of the Secretary General Antonio Guterres at the 30th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of the African Union, held in February this year here in Addis Ababa, in which he said, and I quote him, "The world must never forget that Africa," and to this I would like to add the Caribbean, "is the victim of two colossal compounded injustices. Firstly, the slave trade. The roots stretch back centuries, and the bitter fruit continues to affect Africans and people of African descent to this day. Decolonization alone in itself was not a panacea. Political independence did not free countries from structures based on exploitation and decades of economic, social, and institutional underinvestment. It is high time for reparatory justice frameworks to be put in place. Secondly, Africa and the Caribbean were under colonial domination when today's multilateral system was created, and that injustice endures." End of quote. Through your collective advocacy, this historical injustice is now widely acknowledged. The United Nations welcomes the growing consensus towards reforming global institutions such as the United Nations Security Council and the Bretton Woods institutions. The Secretary General has been and continues to be particularly vocal in this regard. Excellencies, people everywhere are hoping for a future of peace, dignity, and prosperity, which serves as a basis of common cause between Africa and the Caribbean. As the Secretary General noted, correcting age-old injustices is essential to addressing here and now challenges. And the good news is that we have many of the solutions we need, many of which feature in the Pact for the Future, adopted in September last year by the General Assembly. It should be a future that prioritizes dialogue and negotiation, ending the wars that are tearing our world apart, including by leveraging for the whole of humanity the immense potential presented by modern technologies such as artificial intelligence. It should also be a future ushering in a new era of relations between nations based on sovereign equality, collective peace and security, and shared prosperity in larger freedom. Excellencies, allow me, on behalf of the Secretary General Antonio Guterres, to wish you productive deliberations. And I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Excellency. Your leadership and role in reinforcing the Africa-Caribbean dialogue and cooperation are deeply appreciated. It is now my distinct honor to invite His Excellency, Dr. Abiy Ahmed, Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, to deliver his statement. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Your Excellency, João Lorenzo, President of the Republic of Angola and the current Chairperson of African Union, Your Excellency, Terence Drew, Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, and incoming Chair of CARICOM, esteemed heads of states and government, Your Excellency, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Your Excellency, Dr. Carla, Secretary General of the Caribbean Community, my dear brothers and sisters from the Caribbean community, welcome home. It is with profound honor and deep pride that I welcome you to Ethiopia, a land where history lives and the future takes root. We gather in Addis Ababa, where the call for Adwa was answered and African unity found its first home. From here, the world is reminded of a truth too often forgotten. The spirit of our nations always rises. On this ground, where history was made, victory was won not by force, but by courage, not by empire, but by unity. That triumph did not belong to Ethiopia alone. It became a symbol of resistance, pride, and shared aspiration across continents and generations. Today, we're here to build upon that legacy. We often speak of reconnection, but what we are doing goes further. We are building a relationship deliberate, purposeful, and lasting. Excellencies, the world is changing. Voices once ignored are now demanding to be heard. In this new era, we cannot speak in fragments. We must speak as one. That's why the AU-CARICOM partnership matters. It is rooted in opportunity, guided by frameworks that reflect today's reality. In a world where global challenges demand regional unity, and where regions like ours cannot act alone, There is clear alignment between us. On climate justice, our voices carry weight. In global governance, our demands are just. For inclusive growth, powered by innovation and use, our ambition converge. Across these issues, each region brings strengths. Africa brings scale, natural wealth, and boundless potential. The Caribbean brings strategic diplomacy, strong institutions, and resilient communities. Together, those strengths are multiplied. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Ethiopia's past shows what is possible when unity meets deliberate action. We call this Madamar, synergy, the strength that comes when heads, hands, and hearts work as one. It is more than cooperation. It is a shared effort, a unity of purpose that turns idea into action and action into lasting change. This synergy drives national progress through connection, culture, innovation, knowledge, and unity. Connection links us. Ethiopian Airlines, Africa's largest carrier, links our continent to many corners of the world, bringing people, economies, and ideas together. Culture defines us. Our UNESCO-recognized festivals celebrate heritage, pride, identity, and creativity. Innovation drives us. Through the Green Legacy Initiative, we planted over 48 billion seedlings in 7 years, restoring ecosystems and creating jobs. Our climate resilient wheat initiative transformed imports into exports. Digital Ethiopia is opening new pathways for trade and finance. The local solutions grow our economy and strengthen self-reliance. Knowledge equips us. Ethiopian universities and leadership academies welcome students from across Africa, shaping skills, research, and capacity for the future. Unity empowers us. When Ethiopia speaks with one voice on climate, on debt, or trade, we deliver. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is proof of our strengths when we unite. Born in the heart of millions, funded by our own people, built through their labor and sacrifice. It is a testament to shared vision, bold determination, and collective effort, a historic achievement for Ethiopia and for Africa. Excellencies, these forces, guided by Madamar, are the foundation for what we can build with the Caribbean. Geography may have placed us apart, but history has bound us together. Let us free ourselves from the language of charity, of recovery, of being called developing. Let us instead rise into something new and ours, where the waters that once divide us now unite us in dignity and prosperity. My dear brothers and sisters, our experience, guided by the spirit of Madamar, together with our collective innovations in energy, agriculture, digital technology, and knowledge, can be a bridge linking Africa and the Caribbean in shared prosperity. To turn vision into action and building on the commitments of the first Africa Union CARICOM Summit, I propose bricks of unity built on 4 pillars of impact. First, agriculture and digital innovation. Advancing climate-smart farming, tropical crop research, and resilient food systems, paired with digital platforms, AI, and e-learning to amplify impact. Expanded renewable energy will green our farms, processing facilities, and trade. Second, innovation and collaboration. Creating hubs of entrepreneurship, digital infrastructure, and research, linking startups, universities, and institutions. That also means easing mobility, more accessible visas, expanded transport and logistics, making partnerships practical and possible. Third, culture and leadership. Expanding youth and leadership exchange, strengthening cultural and creative collaborations, not as a symbol, but as engines of identity, innovation, and opportunity. Fourth, knowledge and health. Building research networks to address tropical medicines, marine ecosystems, and climate, harnessing our collective knowledge to solve shared challenges and improve health outcomes. Through these bricks of unity, we link our universities, our economies, and our cultures, making distance no barrier to progress. Let us not be distracted by the challenges that surrounded us. Our regions have always faced adversity. What has changed is that we now choose to face it together, defining our own solutions and future. I thank each of you for your presence, your leadership, and your commitment to a more unified future. I wish you all a fruitful summit. Enjoy your stay in Ethiopia. I thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for the generous hospitality extended to our Excellencies, heads of states, and distinguished delegates. It is my pleasure to invite His Excellency Terence Drew, the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, incoming Chair of CARICOM, to deliver his remarks. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Good morning to all. Let me first of all recognize Your Excellency Abiy Ahmed Ali, Prime Minister of this great country, Your Excellency João Manuel Gonçalves Lourenço, President of Angola and Chairperson of the African Union. Let me also recognize Your Excellency Parfait Onanga Ayanga, Special Representative of the United Nations Secretary General. Allow me also to recognize Your Excellency Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, Chairperson of the African Union Commission. And allow me to recognize also Her Excellency Dr. Carla Barnett, Secretary General of CARICOM. Other heads of delegation, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. But allow me to also recognize, speaking on behalf of the Caribbean community, the Rastafari community of the Caribbean, who for many years has asked us to meet with our African brothers and sisters and forge a relationship that would ensure prosperity for our people. Today, as I stand here and came here by air, as I landed in this most beautiful country, it dawned on me that our history in the Caribbean did not start 400 years ago with the slave trade, but indeed we are connected to the cradle of civilization, the cradle of humanity, Africa, Ethiopia. It is indeed an absolute delight to greet you on behalf of the Conference of Heads of Government of the Caribbean Community at this second CARICOM Africa Summit being held in the Nelson Mandela Hall here at the headquarters of the African Union. Ethiopia, the land of origins, reflects the family ties and bonds shared between the people of the Caribbean community and the continent of Africa. While these linkages were forged from an exploitative and oppressive system that made a mockery of human rights, the Caribbean is proud of the strides made in strengthening these connections through Pan-African advocacy, the fight against apartheid, and closer social and cultural links between the people of Africa and the Caribbean, supported by the respective decisions of the African Union and the Caribbean community. Today's first in-person meeting, since we met virtually for the first time in 2021, is timely in reinforcing the bonds between Africa and the Caribbean, as well as in examining ways in which to deepen our partnership at the global and strategic levels. This will allow us to deepen South-South cooperation while fostering shared prosperity and affirming a common voice on global platforms, including on global peace, security, reform, and multilateral issues such as climate change. As we meet under the theme of Transcontinental Partnership in Pursuit of Reparatory Justice for Africans and people of African descent through reparations, we are reminded of the important outcome from the first Africa-CARICOM Summit hosted by His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya, on 7th September 2021. The Caribbean community expresses sincere thanks and its deep appreciation to His Excellency Abiy Ahmed, Prime Minister of this great country, not only for the excellent arrangements and hospitality to us here in Addis, but also for the commitment made with the Honorable Mia Ahmad Motley, Prime Minister of Barbados, to hold this second summit. This engagement will allow for broader discussion on the 2024 AU-CARICOM Memorandum of Understanding on upscaling engagement and linkages with people of African descent, particularly the strengthening of interregional economic partnerships and enhanced people-to-people ties. We also convey our thanks to His Excellency João Manuel Gonçalves Lourenço, President of Angola and Chairperson of the African Union, for the support given to this engagement. Excellencies, our discussions today should allow us to come to a common understanding and collaboration on a wide range of issues pertinent to our shared priorities. These include reparations, multilateral cooperation, reform of the international financial architecture, debt sustainability, finance, education, health, climate change, youth engagement, digital transformation and artificial intelligence, trade and investment, maritime and air transport, tourism, and cultural exchanges. What is clear is that closer collaboration between Africa and CARICOM is impatient. It's impatient of urgent attention and action in order to achieve positive outcomes for both our regions. Actions must be the underpinning sentiment of all that we do. Current global events demonstrate clearly that it is in the best interests of both Africa and the Caribbean to work together as developing regions. And I heard the word of my brother, President Ahmad, that we need to drop the term developing regions and convert that into something that represents what we are seeking to achieve. Commendations are due to Africa-CARICOM, particularly under Professor Benedict Orama's leadership, as well as to numerous political and other leaders across Africa, who through concrete initiatives are encouraging trade, investment, cultural and sporting exchanges, and other collaborations between CARICOM and Africa. And I dare say that it has begun. To further propel our efforts, we need increased transportation linkages to reinforce our bonds, as our people should be able to travel freely and unabated to Africa and CARICOM. We need increased trade and investment, building on the experience, potential, and amplification of the culture, historical, and economic linkages between our regions. What was once a devastating tragedy for our people and for humanity, the transatlantic slave trade, should now be converted into the Atlantic Bridge, a bridge of hope, a bridge of advancement, a bridge that will ensure that our people take their rightful place in this world. Therefore, I call for more cooperation, more working together, and more advancements. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters of this great continent, we are happy to be home again. We have the opportunity to rewrite historical outcomes and to be champions of our own destiny. CARICOM remains, therefore, committed to the CARICOM-AU partnership on this 5th anniversary of Africa-CARICOM Day, as we celebrate the enduring kingship and deepening partnership between our people, between the Caribbean community and Africa. Let us celebrate, but let this celebration be a demonstration of what we seek to achieve with this new, strong relationship that we are forging forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I now have the honor to invite His Excellency João Lourenço, President of Republic of Angola and Chairperson of the African Union, to deliver his statement. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Sua Excelência Abiy Ahmed Ali, Primeiro-Ministro da República Democrática Federal da Etiópia e anfitrião desta conferência, Suas Excelências, chefes de Estado e de Governo de países africanos e de países do CARICOM, Sua Excelência Andrew Holness, Primeiro-Ministro da Jamaica e Presidente da Comunidade das Caraíbas, Suas Excelências representantes de chefes de Estado e de Governo, Sua Excelência António Guterres, aqui representado pelo Sr. Parfait Onhanga, Sua Excelência Mahmoud Ali Youssouf, Presidente da Comissão da União Africana, Sua Excelência Carla Barnet, Secretária-Geral da Comunidade das Caraíbas, membros do Corpo Diplomático acreditado em Addis Abeba, Excelências, minhas senhoras, meus senhores. É com muita honra e um profundo sentimento de irmandade que tomo a palavra na minha qualidade de Presidente em exercício da União Africana para tecer algumas considerações na abertura desta magna Assembleia que reúne pela segunda vez, e desta vez presencial, os máximos representantes dos países membros da União Africana e da Comunidade das Caraíbas. Permitam-me que saúde calorosamente, em nome das delegações aqui presentes, o Governo e o povo da República Democrática Federal da Etiópia, pela calorosa hospitalidade que nos está a proporcionar nestes dias de trabalho, aqui na sede da União Africana, nesta magnífica cidade de Addis Abeba. Estamos reunidos hoje não apenas por afinidades históricas, mas fundamentalmente pela determinação comum de transformarmos as cicatrizes do passado em pontos de solidariedade, cooperação e justiça. Aos 7 de setembro de 2021, devido às contingências da Covid-19, realizamos no formato virtual a primeira cimeira Africa-CARICOM, durante a qual as nossas deliberações sinalizaram a importância de encontros posteriores e hoje, exatamente 4 anos depois, estamos juntos novamente. Pretendemos fazer desta cimeira um importante momento de articulação global entre africanos e afrodescendentes em busca da reafirmação da nossa dignidade e da conjugação de esforços voltados para a cooperação política, econômica, social e cultural, assentes na história comum e nos laços de consanguinidade que nos unem. Neste segundo encontro, que se subordina ao lema Parceria Transcontinental na busca da justiça para os africanos e os afrodescendentes através das reparações, sobressai o facto de esta cimeira, em função do seu tema, ter um simbolismo muito especial por se alinhar com a decisão da União Africana de consagrar o ano 2025 à questão da justiça para os africanos e afrodescendentes através de reparações. Isto abre uma ampla frente comum num quadro de parceria transcontinental entre a União Africana e a CARICOM, com a perspectiva de reforçarmos a nossa luta pela justiça reparatória a nível global. Devemos procurar evoluir para decisões que viabilizem a realização dos nossos objetivos, e é com esta finalidade que considero fundamental que pensemos nas formas de criarmos as bases necessárias à utilização de ferramentas já disponíveis no âmbito da reparação, de que destaco o mecanismo afro-caribenho de justiça reparatória e o Fundo Global de Reparação. Estas ferramentas servirão de instrumentos facilitadores da colaboração entre órgãos da União Africana e da CARICOM, visando a definição de estratégias, o alinhamento de políticas e a promoção de ações eficazes e conjuntas sobre reparações, tanto no plano político como no jurídico. Excelências, esta cimeira é, na verdade, uma oportunidade para refletirmos sobre todos os factos da história que nos unem e na necessidade de pensarmos num modelo de ação comum e numa estratégia que revigora a nossa força gerada pela dor e pelo sofrimento do passado colonial. Só assim vamos encetar um caminho conjunto que nos conduz ao progresso, ao desenvolvimento, ao bem-estar das gerações presentes e futuras de africanos e afrodescendentes e ao fim do ciclo de regiões. Constatamos com grande satisfação que há uma dinâmica que nos faz acreditar na concretização dos nossos objetivos comuns e, nesse aspecto muito particular, gostaria de realçar os importantes progressos que se vêm registrando no âmbito da nossa cooperação, de que destaco a instalação do escritório do Afreximbank nas Caraíbas. Este importante passo da aproximação abriu novas oportunidades de comércio e investimento, a realização dos fóruns afro-caribenhos de comércio e investimento, que está já na sua 4ª edição e que têm aproximado empresários e governos das duas regiões, bem como levado à assinatura, a 26 de setembro de 2024, de um memorando de entendimento entre a União Africana e a Comunidade das Caraíbas. Entendemos que isso vai reforçar a cooperação em áreas estratégicas como o comércio, o transporte, a educação, a ciência, a cultura e o apoio mútuo em desafios globais. Ainda há compromissos não concretizados e por isso devem passar a constar das nossas prioridades. A definição de um roteiro claro e objetivo que nos leve, tão rapidamente quanto desejável, a estabelecer uma plataforma conjunta de comunicação e mídia, a assinatura de um acordo multilateral de serviços aéreos e de isenção de vistos. Precisamos de rever os regimes de vistos e criar voos diretos entre a África e as Caraíbas, de criar uma parceria público-privada Africa-CARICOM para a mobilização de recursos e de lançar o Fórum de Territórios e Estados Africanos e Caribenhos. Penso que devemos potenciar esforços para implementarmos as nossas decisões e transformá-las em benefícios duradouros e concretos para os nossos povos, na base de um intercâmbio intenso e ativo nos principais domínios da nossa cooperação, designadamente no econômico, com vista a estimular o comércio e o investimento nos setores da energia, da tecnologia digital, da agroindústria e da economia azul. No domínio cultural, visando aprofundar o intercâmbio educativo, artístico e desportivo que reforçam a nossa identidade partilhada, e no social, no sentido de dar voz ativa à juventude, às universidades, aos centros de pesquisa e investigação científica e às organizações culturais da diaspora. Excelências, temos objetivos claros e devemos procurar estabelecer os mecanismos que facilitem a sua implementação e, por esta razão, proponho a criação de subcomitês técnicos permanentes que integram representantes da União Africana e do CARICOM, compostos por especialistas, representantes ministeriais e parceiros da sociedade civil e do setor privado. Devem centrar o seu trabalho em áreas de interesse estratégico comum, apresentar propostas concretas para se promover o investimento na produção de vacinas, na inovação agrícola e noutros setores que podem dar suporte ao nosso desenvolvimento comum. É importante atuarmos de forma coordenada para ajudarmos a impulsionar as reformas que se impõem na arquitetura financeira global, de que depende em grande medida uma abordagem mais justa sobre a questão da dívida e da disponibilização de recursos financeiros para a realização de projetos estruturantes e impulsionadores do progresso em África e na região do CARICOM. Em todas as estratégias que delinearmos, a juventude deve ocupar um lugar central e, por isso, considero ser pertinente que se procure institucionalizar o Conselho da Juventude União Africana-CARICOM como um órgão consultivo permanente, assegurando-se assim que as novas gerações sejam o eixo em torno do qual gravitará a construção do nosso futuro comum. Excelências, vivemos atualmente uma época marcada por grandes mudanças a nível global, que vão desde a crise climática, passando pela insegurança alimentar e energética, a instabilidade geopolítica, as migrações forçadas, até as pressões econômicas externas. São desafios que afetam de forma particularmente intensa os países do sul global, especialmente os da África e das Caraíbas, por serem os que estão mais desprovidos de meios e recursos para fazer face a estes fenómenos. Os factos que referi tornam-se mais gravosos no contexto atual de uma acentuada fragilização das instituições multilaterais que, por incidirem de um modo bastante preocupante em África e nas Caraíbas, devem obrigar-nos a um esforço de cooperação mais firme no sentido da defesa e da promoção constante de um multilateralismo abrangente em que caibam todos os povos e nações, em igualdade de circunstâncias e sem a marginalização a que africanos e caribenhos sempre estivemos votados. Por isso, impõe-se que realizemos de forma coordenada esforços convergentes no sentido de que fique demonstrada a inevitabilidade da reforma do sistema das Nações Unidas, em particular do seu Conselho de Segurança, para que este importante órgão, refletindo a realidade do mundo dos nossos dias, possa, num contexto de equilíbrios dos diferentes interesses geopolíticos, desempenhar cabalmente o seu papel de garante da paz e segurança mundial, saindo do marasmo e da quase inoperância em que se encontra no momento atual. Em face do que acabei de referir, considero que os Estados africanos e caribenhos devem procurar defender em conjunto um multilateralismo capaz de responder aos desafios contemporâneos em matéria de paz e segurança, clima ou desenvolvimento sustentável, garantindo que nas estruturas das instituições internacionais haja uma representatividade que abarca as aspirações e os anseios dos povos de todos os continentes, nomeadamente dos excluídos de África, da América Latina e Caribe, Ásia e Médio Oriente. Tenho a certeza de que esta cimeira representará um marco determinante na ação prática que, doravante, a África e as Caraíbas realizarão para que as palavras carregadas de emoção e de esperança que serão proferidas durante este nosso encontro se transformem no farol que nos guiará para um destino em que os povos africanos e caribenhos realizem os seus grandes anseios à prosperidade, ao bem-estar e ao progresso. Desde esta tribuna, aproveitamos a ocasião para dizer ao povo palestino que neste momento difícil que atravessam e enfrentam um verdadeiro genocídio, o mundo não está indiferente ao vosso sofrimento. Estamos solidários com a vossa causa, a causa da luta pela criação do Estado da Palestina, para que os dois povos, palestino e judeu, possam viver em paz e harmonia, desenvolvendo relações de amizade e de cooperação econômica. Com estas palavras, declaro aberta a segunda cimeira África-CARICOM. Muito obrigado pela atenção.
Thank you, Excellency, for your insightful statement. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed to the family photo. I kindly request that heads of state, heads of delegations, and those invited to the high podium to follow the protocol team to the designated location for smooth organization. I kindly ask that all other delegates remain seated until the photo session is completed. After the family photo, the sessions will resume here in this hall under the guidance of the chairperson of the African Union. I thank you for your attention and wish you fruitful deliberation. Thank you.
But that one is on the red zone.